Welcome to a smaller version of my popular concept base design, the Vault. This base has been evolved to have reduced cost, upkeep and footprint size while maintaining similar raid cost. The Vault Mini starts from the simplest of 2x1 starters, which can then be expanded into 3 separated 2x1s, which are then bunkered at a later stage. This is then followed by the addition of early anti-siege with turret cover. This increases the overall raid cost to take over TC control of even one 2x1 to 72 rockets. Then this is expanded later to have a central TC-less defense base in the middle with an open core roam room style living area, acting as a great bait to raiders. One of the many improvements of this new version is that the bunkers can be opened from both the outside and inside of the 2x1s, alongside disconnectable anti-siege that can be used to replace any TC when destroyed. Pair these features with peaks to seal the bunkers, a peak down central open core roam room area with lots of storage, and multiple respawn areas for yourself or teammates throughout the central TC-less defense base and compound. 3 turrets can cover the base almost entirely, covering the roof, bunker entrances, compound and parts of the shooting floor. The Vault Mini might be the base for you. I would like to note that the overall metal build cost and upkeep can be reduced by simply upgrading each 2x1's honeycomb to stone. This would reduce the overall raid cost by 12 rockets, but might be a good option for solo players. We start off the tour showing off these Patrico peaks outside the compound that also look back into the compound. We enter the base through the simple single door airlock that actually gives us a peek outside as well. As you can see from this flank bedroom area, we can watch the bunker entrances, the other side of the compound, as well as Patrico peaks that look outside. We have some small boxes here for kits or just drop off storage. Here we find our anti-siege just connected to this square here. The 2x1 on the right hand side upkeeps this gatehouse and this side of the base. This extends the privilege to both the 2x1s, preventing anyone from placing the TCs. By disconnecting it like so, you can then replace the TCs. We have a simple shot front here to separate the compound as well as achieve a decent peak. Here we find a turret that covers the compound as well as the bunker entrance. You will also find a Patrico peak here that offers the same advantage. We can simply open the bunkers like so. This metal ramp connects our wall stacking to the TC inside. With this new version of the 2x1, you can demolish this entrance whenever you like. Here you'll find space for some deployables such as electric furnaces and batteries. Here we find a completely vanilla 2x1, you can customize this to however you like, and here is the upkeep of each 2x1. As you can see, the overall upkeep is incredibly cheap on this base, meaning that solos can easily maintain it. I would recommend keeping wood and a building plan inside this box here so you can quickly open the bunker when needed. We now enter the central TC-less defense tower. As you can see, here is the angle of one of the Patrico peaks that watches one of the bunkers. There are 3 entrances into this central base. Here is where we find our mini roam room area and peek downs into the central area. You can customize this area to however you like. You can even add an oil refinery if you'd like. As you can see, it's quite easy to run around and seal all the bunkers from this area. And we have some peek downs above to cover this. On each of the 3 mobility chutes we have a simple respawn area. Of course you can add more storage here if you'd like, as well as an ankle biter to retake parts of the shooting floor. Here we find a simple single door peak that allows us to seal the bunker from above as well. We now enter one of the 3 sides of the shooting floor. Here we find a decent Patrico peak, as well as this area being covered by the turret pod above. You can change the walls either side to more windows for some more visibility, but this will open you up to many raid base angles, so you might want to keep it like it is. Here we find a slit in the floor that allows us to peek down into the compound. In this central area we have some space for respawn points, as well as our peek downs into the core below. The roof is protected by honeycomb, and then we have these 3 turrets that cover the roof as well. You can add roof access to this area if you'd like, but I felt the turret cover was improved by not adding this roof access. It also covers down into the compound, as well as the shooting floor below, as previously mentioned. There is space here for 3 windmills as well, and then you can also place some SAM sites on the roof too. If you have time, this is a great way of mapping out the area that you require for your base. Put simply, you can place a triangle in the centre, build out by 3 squares on either side, and then you will have your 2x1s on each side here. Then of course add the honeycomb, and this is the area you will need for the entire base. So to start off the build, you can easily place this triangle in the centre, then build back by only the 3 squares on one side. Or if you'd like to just wing it, you can place this 2x1 here by placing these 2 foundations and just start off building here. You want to build a simple 2x1, adding the airlock on the right hand side. It is vital that all the 2x1s have the same configuration and the same direction of doors. This will allow the TC placement, and then of course you can add a double door to airlock the entrance early on into the white. Place the TC on the left hand side, this is also crucial. You can add a permanent shelf here on both sides if you'd like. You can upgrade 2 of these triangle foundations, but not the central one. We will need this to be destroyed later. You can add a temporary single door airlock here that you can hatch it out later. Nothing permanent must be placed in this socket, as this is what allows you to reopen the bunker from the inside. This is the 2x1 you should be left with. As previously mentioned, you will have to remove this doorway later. Now when you're ready to expand, build back by 3 squares, then 1 triangle, and then build out by another 3 squares on either side. This is the exact same footprint that we mapped out at the beginning, so just repeat this. This is what the spacing should look like. You should also delete the twig build out as well. Now simply repeat the exact same 2x1 that we built at the beginning on the other 2 sides. This is what the footprint should look like at this stage. You should upgrade the double doors to garage doors later. Once we've completed all the 2x1s, we will now add our bunkers. You should build out by 7 square foundations and then cap off with a triangle. Because of the other 2x1 building privilege, you will be able to demolish at this range as well. Then come back by half moons and you should be left with a triangle that's slightly wall stacked against the TC. You should be left with a gap here and you should upgrade this foundation to HQM. Then demolish all of the twig build out and upgrade this triangle to metal. You can check you've correctly placed it by leaving it twig and then placing the roof on either side. Now add a double door frame to prevent soft siding, and then you can add this frame here as well. Then you should add a triangle roof ramp here and upgrade it to metal, and then you can extend out from the main TC side and add a window frame. This will connect the wall stacked area to the main TC. As you can see on the upkeep, we have HQM and metal. Removing this ramp will remove the HQM upkeep. You then want to repeat this on the other 2 sides. Once you have done this, we can come to one of the sides of the 2x1s and create our anti-siege. Note that symmetry is on at this stage, so you must repeat this on the other two sides. You should build out by the triangle foundations as shown. I'm sure you can do this in a better way, but this is the way I do it. You should be left with these 3 triangles, then you can build out by 1 square. Upgrade this square to metal and then you can demolish the original triangle. You want to place 2 half-height walls, this will allow you to disconnect the anti-siege. I got confused here, you do not need to upgrade this triangle foundation to stone. I will remove that stone triangle foundation later. You then want to add a shelf and a window to create your trigger peak, and then a single door airlock on the left hand side. Then we connect this to the 2x1 on the left hand side by adding these triangle frames. Then you want to add a ramp here to allow us to make some peaks later, as well as prevent soft sliding. Optionally, you can expand at this stage a little bit to give the turret a bit more cover if you have them early game. You want to upgrade this outer foundation to metal, and then you can delete these triangle foundations here. It is vital that none of the foundations connect directly onto this metal or HQM foundation. This will mean the anti-siege will not disconnect the TC privilege, and therefore you will not be able to place any of the TCs. You can add chain link here, and then your turret early game if you would like on this shelf. Feel free to add doorways and then seal in this area if you'd like. I recommend upgrading 2 of these foundations to HQM. This will help prevent foundation wiping. Make sure that you connect all of the sides to each of their respective TCs. To check your anti-siege works, you can simply place a ramp here, then reconnect it like so. This is what it should look like. Now we will simply add honeycomb to each of the 2x1s and upgrade it to metal. As previously mentioned, you can leave this as stone if you do not have the resources at the stage you're building it. This will massively reduce the metal cost to make the base as well as upkeep it. This might be a great way for solos to afford the base easier, but feel free to upgrade it to metal if you have the resources. And here are the recommended upgrades to the inner 2x1. Make sure the conditioner is covering the gap here. This is what the base should look like. We will now do our gatehouses. You want to place a raised square foundation. This will allow you to place a ramp still. I would like to repeat that symmetry is on, so you must repeat this on the other 2 sides. Make sure the embrasures face inwards. Then add triangle foundations on either side, adding a half wall and then a low wall on top. Then add a double door frame with a floor on top. Then you can go around with half walls and create the extra storage space. Repeat this on the other side too. This is what it should look like. Feel free to add chain link here as well. Before completing the compound and adding the walls, we will add the barricades first. These triangles should be twigged as these are temporary just to help with the placement. You will need a total of 18 barricades for the entire compound to be secure. Then you can simply place each of the external walls like so, trying to push them against the walls as close as possible, especially the one connected to the 2x1. As you can see here, we will not get a perfect placement, but you can simply demolish it and try again. I recommend placing this double door frame now in case the barricades prevent the placement later. Once again, these triangles that I've added are temporary, so these will be twig. This is what the base should look like. Now we will complete the central TC-less defense tower. Add a double doorway on the right hand side and then a full wall on the left, making sure that it is facing inwards. When doing the second floor, this wall here should be a half wall and then a window frame on top. The rest can be walled in. Once again, make sure these walls are facing inwards like so. Add frames to support the shooting floor here. When placing the floors, you should end up with a gap here. This single door will allow us to peek down and add ramps on either side. You can then see it in this area. As mentioned in the tour, you can put windows here instead of full walls, but I would recommend full walls for more protection. These floors should attach to the left hand side. This will allow us to cover it using a double door frame. Make sure when placing the garage door that the roller is facing outwards, as this will cover the gap. The window here should be facing inwards to correct the Patrico peak. Then off this double door frame on the outside, you should be able to place this floor here, and then you can place a ramp on top. Then expand by one half wall, and then a floor on top. You can further connect this using a square frame. I recommend upgrading all of this current rod area to metal. You can then wall in the rest, adding a double door frame in front for the chain link. You can also place your windmills on top too. You want to add single doors here to separate each part of the shooting floor. You want to then add floors to the wall side. This will create the peak next to the double doorway. Then you can connect it in a triangle to whatever side you'd like. I would recommend placing the bed on this side when you place it. And that is pretty much the base complete. We'll now run through some recommended deployables. And that is the end of the video. If you did like what you see, please consider subscribing or liking down below. It is greatly appreciated.